that advertise in our newsletter. Prior to that, we had a lot of problems with letter carriers being able to find any doctors that would work with the Department of Labor and their cumbersome practices and the forms and all this stuff that goes with a claim if, God forbid, you get hurt on the job. So while, fortunately, because I have this easy office job, I haven't hurt myself, and I haven't had to use any of these doctors, so I can't speak medically, but I can tell you the response I've gotten from the members that have visited these doctors that advertise in our newsletter has been very, very positive. I've yet, and I hate to, I don't believe in jinxes, so I'm going to go ahead. I've yet to have a negative response or a negative complaint. So I try, and working with Dr. Kustin was here earlier, and I try to work with all of them so that to get the message out to you all. Please take it back to the stations. It's in the newsletter. There's information on the back table, as Dr. Newman will address in a minute. Get this out so people have a place to go that actually understand how the Department of Labor works. And it solves a lot of problems, okay? So if I could get a motion to suspend the normal order of business for a few moments. Motion by Ernest Knight, seconded by Ed Travers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. I'd like to give Dr. Newman a few minutes to tell you a little bit about what he does and what they all do for you. So this is Dr. Newman.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, members of NALC. Can you all hear me all right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me in the back? I know our Sergeant of Arms is going to do a great job keeping all of these, herding these cats over here, right? As your president said, I'm Dr. Michael Newman. I am the provider, I own a DOL, Department of Labor, OWCP credentialed facility in the Dadeland, South Miami area. Now, what does that mean for you? That means if someone in your cadre gets hurt on the job, you need to first notify your supervisor. Second, go to a DOL OWCP credentialed facility. That's how you get all of these arduous things, these paperworks, all these things that we know how to do. And in a couple of minutes, I'll introduce you to the woman who really knows how to do it. But understand, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
In the back?
Yes.
You can't hear me back there. Okay. How's that? Is that better? Yeah. Okay. They say make it like an ice cream cone, right?
Watch out.
So letter carriers, you know that you have unique issues. You know what it's like to stand for 2 hours casing mail. You know what it's like to pick up those trays of flats and have to do something with it. You know what it's like to push that hamper to your truck and put it in. And then, how about pulling those doors down? You ever get those doors stuck? We have someone who just came in last week, had that happen. She's in our office now being treated for that. But any care if it's an emergency. If you get a bad cut, a bad accident, a poke, something that really requires emergency room, you go to the emergency room. Then you report it to supervisor. First thing you're responsible is take care of you. But then immediately report it to your supervisor. Talk to your union if you got questions about it. Your president, Mark, has been very helpful in helping you get to places. We also have in this area one of the top regional OWCP representatives for the union. That's Joanne Wright. And I have a quote from her I'll tell you at the end of this little talk. But all of those things you do require you to do one thing very, very important. Stay strong. Watch your biomechanics. Watch your ergonomics. Watch how you're lifting and bending. In fact, one of the things, when I signed up and started working with OWCP clients, patients, which was about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, one of the things that impressed me about the DOL is that one of their wants is that you get back on the job stronger than when you got hurt. Now, I'm not talking about your supervisors, I'm not talking about management, I'm talking about DOL. Because DOL knows if you get back to work stronger, you're less likely to hurt yourself again, aren't you? Right? You're less likely to have an issue again. You want to stay strong and be well. So your core strengthening, the things that work on your stomach and your buttock and your back, the walking, the swimming, the bicycling, Running is not so great. You guys do a lot of walking with heavy sacks. Running is going to pound you more. Not good for your knees. Anybody have knee problems? You can put your hands down now. It's okay. I know what you do. I've studied the things that come from your union on what your job descriptions are and how they work. So it's very important that you find the right doctor when you get hurt on the job. And the story I have to tell you is not from an NALC member, but about the third or fourth patient I saw was from the Bureau of Prisons. He hurt himself, an electrician, hurt himself on the job. He hurt his knee and his back. It took him 3 months of different doctors in different places till he found a doctor who did DOL. Happened to be me. But those 3 months slowed down his healing. He was worse off. Now, in his case, I'll tell you, after 2 months in our clinic, we got him exercising, we got him doing his active care, we got him strong, he got motivated to exercise at home. By the time he was done 3 months later, he had lost 20 pounds. He was really happy. But that's the idea. I'm concerned with your overall health. Now, from DOL, OWCP, I'm concerned with your primary injury if you have an injury on the job. That's what we're here for. Help you get back to work as quickly as possible without hurting yourself. So you have to find the right doctor. Your primary care doctor, your PCP that you go to normally, is not necessarily the right doctor unless they're credentialed with OWCP. Urgent care, not necessarily. Most of the hospitals are. So, as I say, if you injure yourself, go to the hospital, report it to your supervisor. Now, there's 2 important forms. We're going to go through a couple of the forms that your union stewards have that you'll be able to get. There's a few of these on the table and back. I brought with me this, which is the CA11, which is an expanded version of what to do when a person is injured on the job. They now have a CA10, which is a summary of it, but it references the CA11 if you have more questions. And your union back in 2016 produced this in their newsletter, What Caused Your Injury, Part 1, from Kevin Hall, who's an assistant to the president for OWCP. So those are on the back table. Get to know what to do. Not that I want you to get injured. Stay safe, stay strong. But if you do get injured, you got to know the right steps so you get back quickly, so you can get back to your life. It's not just about the job. It's about what you do on the weekend, what you do with your family, how you stay well and get well so you can live a life that's fun, enjoyable, and not just working. So CA1 and CA2, very important forms to know about. CA1, if you had an injury yesterday and you badly hurt yourself, that's a CA1. That's a current injury. A CA2 is an occupational injury that's longer standing, been going on for a while, or a reactivation. So if you've got an issue from 5 years ago that's been reactivated, CA2 is what you fill out for the occupational injury. Of course, you need a CA7, CA17, CA16. These are all forms that we work with. And let me take a minute just to have them raise their hands right now. Right in front here is Brittany and Gio. These are my assistants. Brittany has been working with DOL now for 2.5 years. She is my forms person. She knows more about than I do. I just know what to say. And she doesn't want to get up in front of you. So she'll just blush. But you have to know about these forms. There is a very wonderful document on OWCP DOL, which is a list of all the forms. And I always bring it to these meetings, so if you say, what's a CA36? I don't know, but I can look it up. I can tell you what it is. I'm going to leave that for your president anyway. So the biggest problem I see when people come in the office is their supervisors. That they don't want to listen, they don't want to take their CA17s unless it's exactly signed the right way, they don't want to take their excuses. If that happens, this is the man that you talk to. I can't help you with the supervisors. Hopefully he's the one who can do that. But I understand that process, and it's not easy. But you have to look out for yourself. You are your own best advocate. The other form that we work with is the CA17, which is your job description. It gives us what you do. Every federal employee gets one of these when they're injured. Your supervisor lists on that form how many hours you stand, how many hours you walk, how many hours you sit, how many hours you move your arms. We then use that form to determine what your restrictions are going to be. How do I give you a restriction because you hurt your back, your knee, or your arm if I don't know what you do on a daily basis? So that CA17 is how the doctor communicates with OWCP and DOL and your supervisor. There are a number of other things, but I'm really here to help answer questions about DOL work comp. Now, I am a physician. I've been doing acupuncture, chiropractic, physical medicine, all kinds of things for the last 40 years. Yeah, congrats on your 55 years. I'm got another 15 till I get there. But all those years, I've had a love of doing the work I do. I tell my patients, I haven't worked a day in my life because I love what I do. I go every day, and you can ask my staff, I'm there early, I stay late, but I like doing what I do. I was born into this, and for South Miami Chiropractic Center, Dadeland, that area, I've been working on people like you, people like employees, workers, people who get hurt. Get well, stay well. Let me tell you what Joanne Wright has to say for you, because I asked her before this talk, what would she like me to give you? And she says, quote, I believe the most helpful thing you could share and reinforce with them is how important is it for them to keep a file of all of their correspondence with and from DOL, starting with their CA1 or CA2 initial filing. So often we hear, I don't know my claim number. I don't know why my case was denied. This information will only be released to the patient either by a signed claims examiner or DOL. The patient must be the advocate for themselves. One of the things we do with our patients who come in who have had previous claims is we have a form that we can send to DOL, or that you can send to DOL, to get prior claim numbers, and then we can look up and help find out what prior things have been going on and how we can help you. As I said, I'm in the South Miami area, but we have doctors around the county and in North County. Is Dr. Custon still here? I know he was leaving. Did he leave already? Okay, Dr. Robert Custon at Pines Rehab Center, he has his card for out there, works with us, not officially, but I refer to him when I have people up north of Broward. He refers to me when he has people down south here. We love what we do. We'd like to help you as best that we can. And actually, I have a couple of people in the room who are your members and your brothers and sisters who are patients of ours who we've helped. So can you guys raise your hands? Let them know who you are. Well, she's busy looking at her phone. She's ignoring us right here. Christina, I'm talking about you. Raise your hand here. Thank you. So if you have any questions, ask them. I can take a couple of questions now if I have time for that, Mark, or not. Short time. Short time. Anything? Yep, we have one person.
I'm not scared. Is this on? Okay. Yeah. My question is not so much of going to find the doctor that takes the workman's comp. It's once you find that doctor, it's federal workman's comp. It's
Correct.
not regular workman's comp.
Correct. It's federal. It's not state.
That you have to express to that doctor because there's so many questions they ask you don't know the answer to. And it's not just the Department of Labor you're dealing with, you got to deal with conduit. And that's the medical provider approver. And so you're jumping back and forth between both because the people at the doctor's office are like, we do workman's comp. I've never had to go through this before. You know, with the provider number, we're getting approved for the surgery, getting approved for the doctor. But I found that occupational is harder to get through than a traumatic. Because an occupational injury.
Yes.
Because a traumatic, you can pick where it happened, when it happened, you're going to go to the emergency room. Occupational, it's on you to prove that it's due to your job. So I think the problem is getting your doctor to specify the wording that DOL will accept. You know, as far as it is directly related to the repetition of your job or... Thank you, whoever turned me up. That is absolutely correct. I work with a couple of medical doctors, one in particular I've been working with a while, and we have gotten, in fact, my first claim, the first patient that came to me when we opened the doors was an older case that was not approved, that we had to get approved, and we did. It was a bad knee. Guy hurt his knee, and it was over and over again. So we've had Joanne Wright send me hard cases, and we get them approved. Our doctors, and I know how to show where the causation is and how this relates to a person's ability to do their job or came from the job. And you're right, if you walk into an office and say you've got work comp, they think state work comp. They call a claims adjuster, they fill out a DWC 25. I've been credentialed to Florida State Work Comp for 35 years, so I know the state work comp side. In fact, I'm supposed to be speaking to Gallagher Bassett and Miami-Dade Schools next month for their bus drivers, because I'm credentialed with them for disc problems. I do a lot of work with people with radiating pain, disc, ruptured discs. So work comp is not the same for state as is federal. If you go to your doctor and hurt yourself on the job, tell them it's federal work comp, it's not state. They'll go, wait, we don't do that. Say thank you very much and leave. They're not going to be able to help you.
Yeah.
They're going to bill you, they're going to send you a bill, they're not going to be able to help you. And once it's a work comp, your health insurance won't cover it. So you have to go, and in your newsletter, there's 2 or 3 facilities, and like I said, talk to your president. I think my time is up. I think I feel someone lurking behind me. Yep, I knew it. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate this group. You guys have been great. And congrats on your new members.